Hey everyone, Leanne Pilkington here for the very latest Courageous Conversation. Look who I've got with me.
Hi.
Everybody, I think you all know my niece Mia. And I'm very excited to be talking to Leanne Druery. Leanne, welcome.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Yeah, thanks for agreeing to spend the time. I know how busy is your real estate market, really crazy like the rest of the country?
It is. It's so busy. It's great. Very
Yeah,
positive marketplace.
gotta love that. So tell everybody a little bit about your real estate history. How long, when did you get into it? How did you get into it? Those sorts of things.
Yeah, sure. So I was 40 years of age when I decided to,
Love that.
have a real estate change in industry.
What did you do
Um,
before?
so I'm actually a teacher by trade, a high school teacher by
Oh, okay.
trade, but I have worked in a number of different industries. The one before I entered real estate was in project management.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of change management involved in that. But I've also worked in the aviation industry
Okay.
as an instructor as well. So I think it was
Wow.
kind of like, four different industries for me that kind of came together, which has in the real estate field.
And so, why real estate at 40?
Yeah. I was approached by a director to
Yep.
see if I would be interested in, their startup company.
Yeah, right.
And look, I'd always been interested in real estate, acquired my first home at 24 years of age,
Yep.
etc. So I've always followed real estate.
Yep.
But I just think the timing was perfect. I just finished a big multi-million-dollar project down at Diesel Drive in Mackay, and the timing was just right. And I just have a bit of a philosophy in life. Why not have a go?
Yeah, have a crack.
Have,
Absolutely. I've just been having that conversation with myself. Obviously, we've just settled on the Lang and Simmons brand, and at the age of 58, like that wasn't really what I thought I would be doing, right? Buying it, but I gave myself, it's interesting the stories that you tell yourself.
yes,
And I
definitely.
finally just said, you know what, have a crack.
And I don't think age is not it's just a number. And,
Yeah.
I was 40, but I must admit, though, Leanne, I started real estate when our whole market crashed.
Oh, good timing.
Yeah, fantastic timing back in 2013. So a
Right.
lot of people were telling me, you have got rocks in your head. Why are you leaving, these great positions?
Yeah, that's right. You sounded like you had some really good jobs. So going into a
Fantastic.
falling real estate market, and did you go straight into sales?
No, I started, like everything comes with a bit of sacrifice.
Yep.
I just decided to kind of halve the income and learn. So I started as a personal assistant,
Yeah, right.
but I'm really glad I did that because it did just allow me to learn how to do things properly. Um,
Look, I think it makes perfect sense to start that way. I think you can really burn yourself out very quickly if you just throw yourself into the deep end. You're much
yeah,
better off doing
yeah.
exactly what you did. Yeah.
Yeah, so personal assistant and then
Yep.
sort of led into sales. So I've been doing sales now full years because I took some time out there for personal reasons and
Yep.
but loving it, yeah. And just gone from strength to strength, in our local marketplace.
Yeah, fantastic. And how long did it take you once you got in? Like, so you're a personal assistant for how long?
Just 12 months, and then I decided to go around Australia for 12 months.
As you do.
As you do, and that was always on the game plan, and I was honest about that. So,
Yeah.
and then I kind of said, if I like it, I'll come back, and I did. So
Yeah.
I really only probably did that for another 6 months, so 1.5 years in total, really,
Yeah.
in that PA role, and then I was ready to fly.
So tell me about the trip around Australia. I've got a girlfriend who actually during COVID just went, you know what, I'm out of here, and took the kids around because they were going to be schooling from home anyway. So it didn't really make
Yeah,
any difference, right?
no.
So what was the motivation and what was the learning from it?
Yeah, look, had the most amazing time. We have the most incredible country.
We do.
So my late husband, that was something that he really wanted to do, and
Okay.
was all well and truly before he got sick. But it's just something that he wanted to do, and I'd put it off because I had two kids, and when's the timing right?
There's always
And
a reason not to do it, right?
Yeah, and then all of a sudden this one day I just went home and went, yeah, let's do it. So I think we bought a four-wheel drive that weekend and a van because he was not letting me say no again.
No, I was just going to say, he's just thinking, wow, I don't know what happened, but whatever it was, I'm happy. So, yeah, that's amazing. And did you go with the kids?
Yeah. So they were about 9 and 11 at the time, so perfect age. And we, just the best way to learn about life, about our beautiful country. And so Tony and I were both both teachers, so we could do the school thing quite well. But to be honest, there was just so many lessons learnt from, our national parks, our ranges, going to exhibitions at museums, lots of tours, things like that. So they had so much fun. It was the best experience.
Yeah, that's a fantastic opportunity. Lots of people. Are you right now? You want the mouse?
Yes.
What do you want the mouse for?
I don't know.
Anyway, sorry. And you. Lots of people say that they want to do it, but just to have that experience, and it's it takes an element of bravery to just pack up and.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and because you're out of your comfort zone, absolutely every day. You're going to new places, you don't really know what's on the roads. But probably the one lesson out of that whole experience is, Tony got sick not long after that. And as you would be aware, he passed away from pancreatic cancer. And something that I learned from that is not to delay those things, those big ticket items that you want to do.
Yeah.
Because you just don't know what's next in our chapters of life, and he was very thankful for that opportunity.
I bet.
And so was I, obviously.
Yeah, and the kids. I mean, what an incredible opportunity to make memories as a family.
Absolutely. Yeah, and great foundation.
You typically regret the things you don't do, right, rather than things that you do?
Absolutely. And I think sometimes we can get really bogged down, and it's great to work, don't get me wrong, love our industry, but you've also got to learn to live amongst it as well,
Yeah, that's a really important lesson. So you came back after a year off. You were an assistant for another 6 months, and then sales. So how was that transition? How did you start?
Look, the transition worked pretty well for me because I was really doing a lot of sales for the gentleman that I was working for at the time.
Yep.
So it was a very easy transition. And I think because I've lived in Mackay nearly 25 years, I have a lot of connections, and I was very much involved in our community, and that's a very important thing for me, supporting our local community. So I really did just hit the ground running.
Yeah.
It was kind of like out there, okay, I'm in full-time sales now, everybody. And it just, I went from 25 sales, I think, in my first year to 50 to,
25
100.
sales in your first year, right?
Yeah, I know.
Amazing.
It is amazing. And then I think I put on a PA, doubled my numbers from there.
And so talk me through that. How do you make the decision on when's the right time to put a PA on, and how do you decide what type of PA you should be employing?
Yeah, so I think I wanted to, you always need support if you want to go to the next level.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. And I think at that time I was doing that elite agent training, with Transform.
Yeah.
And I think I remember Tom Panis saying to me, if you don't have a PA, you are the PA.
It's a great line, but it's so true. Yeah.
And I just thought, well, if I want to go to the next level, I need support.
Yeah.
I think hiring is something that I've learned probably the hard way in some ways, is that I do a lot more profiling now when I hire people.
Yep.
Because you don't want this. I needed someone that's not the same as me.
Yeah, and we always like people that are like us, right? Absolutely. And so all of a sudden you've got all these people around you who are like you, and I don't know about you, but one of me is plenty. Right?
That's right. So now, I guess with our hiring, we do a lot of profiling. We just make sure, that person fits the role and what I'm actually wanting to achieve.
Is there a particular profile that you use?
Yeah, we do that DISC.
DISC.
Yeah. So I'm a big... I really think that's a great support. It's not the only thing I do.
No.
Still, I've actually just hired new staffman. Bone started this week. So obviously it's still very much based on the interview. But I'm a big believer, hiring on attitude. The rest I can teach.
Yeah, for sure. But if you
Yeah.
need somebody, to be in the background and do all of the support work behind you, you don't want a high DI
No,
personality,
correct.
because they'll be like me.
And they'll go nuts like I would. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so 25 sales in your first year, that just makes me laugh. That's incredible. What kind of numbers are you doing now from a sales perspective?
Yeah, so last year I did 103 properties.
Wow. During COVID. Did COVID hit much up there?
Not to the effect that we thought. We did shut down and we did everything by regulation, but it's like anything. We just had to make changes. So we just adopted new strategies, and I guess we turned our business models upside down a little bit, didn't we, as real estate agents?
Yeah.
And we went, you know what, that's no longer working, or that still works well, and, implemented a lot of new changes. Kept some of the old that was still working, and so we did great numbers last year.
Yeah,
so that was probably the highest sales that I've done in a year.
How good is that?
So that was exciting.
And is there, from the things that you did change during COVID, are you still using any of those strategies now, or did you completely revert back to the old way?
No, still using a lot of those strategies. I've got to say, we do a lot of electronic form works now, like through your DocuSign.
Yep.
So things like those one-on-one interviews that you'd be having with your clients changed up because you weren't allowed to do them. So I quite love being able to be at 8:30 at night and my clients can be in their pajamas having a cup of tea and I'm running through a Form 6 with them. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And the comfort of their home. They're not trying to get here in business hours, which is sometimes a struggle. Yeah. So there's just, a lot more videos, things like that, like where you're doing floor plans. We use a lot more social media and I was using social media, but probably not on the same level that I do now.
Yeah.
Because I think everyone turned to their phones, didn't they?
Massively. Yeah, massively.
Yeah.
It's very interesting to see how all of the agents are using social media differently. And they're really in two different camps. One of them is, hey, look at me. Look how much money I made last year and I'm the number one agent. How good am I? And then there's the other agents who are more community focused, more focused on giving information, like translating the real estate information for your local audience. And I'm pretty clear on which one of those you are. But I don't find it interesting just to watch the different ways that people are approaching it.
Yeah. And I think, I'm just a big believer is that, to be a change agent in our industry, got to always look at what message are we sending out there today, because there's real estate is far from fast cars, long lunches. We work. Yeah, we wish. And it's quite interesting, when people join my team or join our industry, they go, it is nothing like what I thought it would be like. It's hard work. And I wouldn't have it any other way. But, and you really, I think probably the biggest struggle for a lot of agents, I feel, is that everybody wants everything now.
Yep.
And you can be in a meeting and you have a client that rings you 3 times in that 20-minute space because they want to know the answer to something now, And
it's very challenging,
the hardest thing for us agents.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's probably the one thing that we're trying to manage those expectations because we're a bit more of an instant society.
Yeah, that's so true. I know, I think it's Rick Rushton that says even instant coffee isn't fast enough for consumers now.
Yeah.
So if my memory serves me correctly, you actually won Transform with
I did.
Yes.
Yeah.
I still remember that beautiful photo of you on the cover.
Yeah, that was such a great experience for me because obviously I just lost Tony and I was a solo. All of a sudden I was, in my early 40s.
And how old were the kids?
So 9 and 11, 13 and 11 at the time when he passed away. Yeah. So all of a sudden I was in a job that I loved, but I didn't know, as a solo parent, could I manage it all?
Could you manage? Absolutely. Yep.
And, Tony and I had been together for over 20 odd years. So, yeah, it was a massive upheaval and, a really challenging time in my life. But I didn't want to give up, Leanne, and I just thought this is an industry that I just love. And so I've just got to learn how to make it work. And Transform for me was just shining the light that it is absolutely possible.
Yeah.
And, I had some amazing coaches, mindset coaches, but then also, performance coaches, and it just gave me all the tools I needed to go, yep, I've got this, I can do this.
Yeah, Samantha McLean does a fantastic job with that program and with Elite as a magazine. Yeah, she's incredible.
Yeah.
So what an opportunity but you've got to be brave enough to put your hand up to get involved, right? Because it's not an easy program.
Oh, it was hard. It was probably the hardest. I felt like I'd done a degree in 3 months. It was massive. It was very challenging. It certainly was not easy, but so many gold nuggets every day, and still those things I implement every day in my systems. And but I think it's just how much do you want it? A lot of people do the talk.
Yeah.
But how much do you want it? We can set these great goals to achieve.
Yeah, to be $1 million agent. It's okay, well, why do you want it?
Yeah.
Right? Like it's not just, some people don't really drill into it. It's just like, oh, yeah, I want to be $1 million agent. It's like, well, do you really know what that means? And let's drill into the numbers so you understand what it's going to take to get to $1 million in your market.
That's exactly right. And I think sometimes for me, the focus has never been that for me. No. It's always to be an elite agent, to be a top performing, at the top of my game agent that does the best by my community. And I think when you take the focus away from the other numbers, it all kind of falls into place anyway.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that. I was talking to Georgie Bates from Cunningham's down on the Northern Beaches, and she was saying the same thing. She's like, you know what, Leanne, I don't actually know what I got. I don't know how many deals I do. It's just my focus is on doing the very best I can for my local community, and everything else seems to fall into place.
And it does, and that's always been, and my team's trained that way. It's all about servicing our clients, doing the best we can, getting our premium results, because at the end of the day, we need to do that. But no, the rest does follow if you do the right thing.
Yeah, that's amazing. So what kind of work do you do in the community?
Yeah, so look, we're very big on, especially in our social media, we're very big on supporting, obviously, whatever's close to heart for our team.
Yeah, nice.
So, for example, I learned to run, a few years ago, and I did a couple of half marathons, believe it or not.
Of course you did. You're a crazy woman.
Because I'm crazy and I'm actually in training now, so you'll be proud of me. I did an hour and 20 run this morning.
Oh, man. I actually started running during COVID. I'm a gym goer, but never been a runner. Yeah. But during COVID, I couldn't go to the gym, and I would start going for walks, and all of a sudden it's like, I have to run. I have to get this energy out, but I can't run I'd be lucky to run for 5 minutes, let alone an hour and 20. That's amazing.
And once again, it's like if I started out, I wouldn't be able to do it either, but it's in training. And I think that's in life, isn't it? If you consistently train at something, you get better. So I love that book, Atomic Habits. That's 1% better every day, and I always concentrate on that, in anything that I do. It's okay, I'm not going to win a gold medal, but hey, I'm out there,
Yeah, absolutely. That's phenomenal. How long did it take you to actually
run a half? 2 hours. Okay. Usually I'm happy if I can do it around that 2 hour mark.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but that's not setting records.
No, setting a record for me, let me tell you. How long did you have to train to get to actually, from the time you started running, to be able to do a half marathon? Yeah,
look, we've been training since pretty much January 3 times a week with our running. I have 2 great women that I run with. They keep us, we keep each other accountable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's important, that accountability. You feel like you're letting someone down if you don't turn up. And but we have a lot of fun. we have a lot of giggles along the way, and then we also have a lot of pain along the way.
Yeah, well, particularly the day after, I'm sure you have a lot of pain, right?
Yeah.
That whole accountability piece is really interesting because we've got, business coaches within our business, and it's really interesting to see the people who will take them up and the people who will go, oh, yeah, I met with them, but no, there's a bit of a personality clash. And it's like, yeah, there's personality clash because he's calling you.
Yeah,
on
calling
stuff
you out.
Yeah.
And I think, if once again comes back to that goal, if you just want to plod along, okay, you might not need that accountability coach. But if you want to get to A to Z, in the shortest period of time, then you do need to know your numbers. You do need to know how to improve those numbers, who needs to do what with your job descriptions.
Yeah.
There's that. And I guess as a team, we're all accountable to each other, as well, because if one person doesn't do that particular, job,
it impacts
then it impacts everyone. It's the same. Same in the fitness industry. Yeah, it's across all industries. I'm a big believer in someone being accountable, making you accountable.
Yeah, for sure. It doesn't matter how disciplined, and I'm pretty disciplined and focused from a work perspective. I know what I need to get done, but there's nothing that motivates you more than a deadline or a board meeting when you haven't done the stuff you said you would do last month. It's like, oh, okay, now I've got to get it done. Everybody's better from that accountability. So who keeps you accountable?
Yeah, so look, I guess I've got some things that I've got set, personally, but like I do share that with our team.
Yeah. Okay.
So they certainly know where our expectations of where we want to go. And, but, I guess I have those discussions with Hayley as well as my principal.
Yeah.
And I do have some mentoring as well. Actually, I'm about to start some coaching, about really developing my EBU, and I'm about to start that with Sherry.
Right. Oh, yeah, I love Sherry.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that. I guess for me what's next is, really developing that business unit, but also, I guess the last 5 years have been mammoth, a huge amount of growth for me in terms of my personal development, but also my professional development. And amongst that, I also did transition across to Remax only from July last year.
Okay.
So it's really about developing that unit and having that consistency for me.
Yeah, amazing. Right, well, we've been chatting away for half an hour already, would you believe?
Oh, my God.
I know. How fast has that gone? It always blows my mind how fast these conversations go. So the podcast is called Courageous Conversations, and if people, and sometimes they're conversations you have with yourself, sometimes it's conversations you have to have with other people, but have you got any tips on, you're right there. Have you got any tips on how you approach a courageous conversation, either with yourself or with somebody in your team that's not really, maybe doing what they need to do?
I think a lot of people do avoid confrontation, Leanne, and I've seen that in our industry. I've seen that in teams, in our personal relationships.
Yeah.
And I think it's actually to our detriment. But I think there's the right way to have a courageous conversation, and so, I'm not afraid of them anymore.
Yeah.
It's a sit down, it's a prepared conversation, this is, and laying it out on the table, going, okay, what can we learn from this? How can we improve this? And that's with ourselves, too, the same conversation. Okay, you know what, maybe I didn't do that so well today. I'm not going to beat myself up, overnight.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go, you know what, I made a mistake. How can I improve on it? Let's move on.
Yeah. Don't dwell on it.
Don't dwell on it. And I think that's something that's a trained behaviour, I believe.
Yep.
Is being able to, I guess, one of my coaches used to call it Soul FM and Shitty AM, turning off that really the dark noise or the white noise and go, you know what, okay, let's move on, let's move forward. Yeah, and I think that's, in any conversation that we have, with our team or with ourselves, is just don't run away from it, because I've found that when we run away from it, it escalates way bigger than it needs to be. Definitely.
Totally. I think that the thing you said right at the beginning of that was it's a prepared conversation.
Yeah.
You don't want to just react. You need to be able to respond thoughtfully, and preparation is the key.
Absolutely. Right? And also, too, not over talking when you're angry, because nothing good comes out of that. Walk away.
That's the truth. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Well, I'm getting quite used to using. Not that I'm stressed right now, but I'm kind of liking the slime. So thank you for the introduction, Mia.
Yeah, thank you, Mia.
And thank you so much, Leanne. It's been delightful to catch up with you. And hopefully I'll see you. I'm bound to be at a conference in Queensland at some stage. So,
I look forward to it.
Yeah, I'll look forward to it too. So thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Thank you. Bye.
Later. Bye-bye.
Bye.